Snark Squad.
Oh my God.
Babes, it is Thursday evening.
Thank goodness.
The wine is literally being poured right now.
To the brim on
In the studio. Freezing. Absolutely freezing.
I cannot feel my toes.
Right. But babes, we are just calling it method acting. Hope Valley Hill. We are in it.
They're so in it. Cheers to that. Like, honestly, my fingers are completely numb. The thermostat in here is acting like it has, fully disassociated from reality.
Fully.
And I am wearing this cable knit sweater that I think physically weighs 12 pounds. We are just radiating Canadian wilderness pioneer chic right now.
We really are. Like, if a bear walks into the studio at this exact moment, I am just going to offer it a glass of this Pinot Noir and just accept my fate.
Oh, absolutely. Just accept it with dignity.
Okay, wait. Before we get into it, we need to apologize.
Yeah, we do.
Babes, we are late with this one.
So late.
Life, chaotic, schedules, an absolute mess. But you know what?
We made it.
We showed up, and we are ready.
We truly are. I mean, we had to push recording because this week just spiraled entirely out of our control.
Unhinged.
I don't even know what day it is anymore. It feels like I've been trapped in this corporate time loop of relentless emails and just...
And traffic.
Yes, gridlocked traffic and rapidly melting iced lattes. It has been a categorically exhausting week.
I feel that in my soul.
Right. Between our respective day jobs and trying to coordinate our calendars and just the sheer volume of nonsense the universe threw at us.
So much nonsense.
The fact that we are sitting here with microphones and a moderately decent bottle of red wine is nothing short of a modern miracle.
A literal miracle.
But we are here. We promised you we would be here. And frankly, I needed this. I needed to just sit down and be snarky with you.
I need the release.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
But wait, before we get into the brutal realities of the frontier, we need to spiral for a second.
Oh no, here we go.
No, because the human need for functional shelter has not changed since 1874. Yet somehow, modern architecture is failing us.
The great architectural grievance of 2026.
Modern apartments. Babes, we love our apartments. But TWH-wise, there's so much CH glass.
A lot of glass.
Why are the layouts giving maze? Why are they so small? Like, where am I supposed to put anything?
Deep breaths.
I need you to understand the psychological toll this is taking on me. I was standing in my living room yesterday, holding my vacuum cleaner, just desperately searching for a place to store it, and I had a full-blown meltdown.
Over the vacuum.
Every single wall in my main living space is just a floor-to-ceiling window, which, okay, I get the appeal.
Well, the natural light is great.
The natural light, the stunning views, excellent aesthetics for my fiddle leaf fig tree. But I cannot store a winter coat inside a window pane.
I mean, no, you can't.
I cannot put a bookshelf against a sheet of transparent glass looking directly out in a busy street. Like, where is the drywall? Where is the structural integrity of a basic closet?
See, this is where our philosophies diverge entirely, because I am a staunch defender of the glass box apartment.
I literally cannot look at you right now.
No, listen, it is a form of structural behavioral therapy. It forces you to embrace genuine minimalism.
I am not a minimalist.
But if you don't have a closet, you cannot hoard 14 winter jackets that you haven't worn since 2019. It forces you to curate your life,
Curate my life. I just want to put my vacuum away.
If you lack the spatial capacity for a massive vacuum, perhaps that is the universe telling you that you don't need a vacuum.
Yeah.
Get a sleek little handheld dust buster, embrace the constraint, and live in the future.
A dust buster? Are you joking? How am I supposed to maintain my area rugs with a dust buster?
You spot clean.
I have a life. I have physical objects that require storage. I am a maximalist trapped in a real estate developer's glass terrarium.
Okay, sure.
And do not even attempt to defend the floor plans. It is like navigating an escape room.
The labyrinth layouts, I will entirely concede to you. Modern residential architecture has completely lost the plot there.
Thank you. You walk in the front door, take a sharp left, navigate a dark hallway, pass a random concrete pillar that serves zero purpose.
Literally zero.
And suddenly you are in the kitchen, but the kitchen is also the living room. And the bathroom door somehow opens directly into the oven. It lacks all spatial logic.
No, I toured a unit last month where the bedroom featured a sliding frosted glass door that looked directly into the kitchen sink.
Ew, why?
So if you want to wake up and immediately make aggressive eye contact with last night's dirty dishes, it is the perfect setup. It's like developers take a square footprint, throw interior walls into a blender, and just build wherever the pieces land.
Exactly. It is deeply unsettling. I just desire a normal room, 4 solid walls, and a door that physically shuts on a hinge.
Like a normal door.
With a handle. Not a sliding barn door, not a frosted glass panel that shows my silhouette to my guests. I want to store my winter boots without them being the centerpiece of my living room decor.
Pick your poison in 2026. You either get a glass observation deck in the sky, or you rent a basement unit that aesthetically resembles a crime scene.
I hate that you're right.
Take a sip of your wine. Breathe.
I am breathing, I am sipping, I am regulating my nervous system. Because, okay, wait. We have something exciting.
We do.
Babes, a life update.
The biggest update.
We've been talking, planning, manifesting, and in the next 5 years, we want to open our own Delubian dental practice. Together.
We did it. We finally put it out into the universe. It is official.
I am literally getting emotional just saying this out loud. We have been working at different dental offices for years now, absorbing other people's chaos,
Pretty much chaos.
navigating toxic management styles,
Exactly.
drinking horrible break room coffee, and we've always joked about doing it ourselves, building our own space.
But lately, the jokes turned into legitimate business plans. We want our own clinic.
Together.
It is intensely terrifying, but also, yes, I am incredibly proud of us for actually putting the logistical wheels in motion.
Me too.
Analytically speaking, it is an absolute nightmare, and I am already losing sleep over the spreadsheets. Finding a commercial lease right now.
Don't remind me.
Buying the equipment. Do you know the exact capital required to purchase a panoramic X-ray machine? It is basically the GDP of a small island nation.
But we are doing it. We are crunching the numbers. We are scouting spaces, and we would work so well together.
We really would. We're the perfect balance.
I am going to be the one dealing with the patients, holding their hands, playing the chaotic Pop Girlies playlist in the waiting room to calm their anxiety,
Keeping the vibes right.
making sure the aesthetic is giving cozy, welcoming comfort. I want plush velvet chairs. I want the entire clinic to smell like lavender and bergamot, not clinical terror and fluoride.
And I will be the one ensuring that the actual dentistry is flawless, the appointment schedule doesn't implode, and we do not immediately go bankrupt because you bought imported artisan spray water for the waiting room.
It's called hospitality.
You bring the heart and the aesthetic vision, and I bring the spreadsheets and the snark. It is going to be a highly functional, beautifully chaotic dental practice.
It is going to be the best office in the city.
Yeah.
But, and this is the most crucial part for you listening right now,
Yes, listen to this.
no matter what happens, no matter how demanding we get with the practice, with negotiating leases, no matter what, we are still showing up here. Always.
Absolutely not going anywhere.
The Snark Squad is our first love. We are never abandoning this space.
This conversation is our required therapy. I fundamentally need this time to just sit down, be petty, be analytical, and dissect television characters with you.
Exactly. We will just be recording for the back office of our stunning new practice.
I love that vision.
And speaking of struggling through difficult environments and building something from the ground up,
Look at that transition.
also, we may not relate to living in 1874, but babes, Canadian winters, we know struggle.
We profoundly understand the frontier survival mindset. We truly do.
We do.
When I watch these characters shivering in their wool coats, complaining about the frost, a dark, primal sector of my soul just nods in complete empathy.
Yes.
They are in 1874 trying to survive the untamed Canadian wilderness. But honestly, have you ever tried waiting for a public transit bus in Calgary in the dead of February?
Please do not even bring up Calgary.
It requires the exact same level of pioneer grit.
That one specific winter in Calgary 10 years ago. Babes. The cold. Offensive. It was personally, aggressively offensive.
It was an assault.
The snow.
Yeah.
Never ending. The darkness. Eternal. I legitimately thought the sun had formally resigned from the solar system.
I have never experienced a cold that possessed that level of sheer anger. It wasn't weather, it was physical trauma. It was minus 40 degrees.
Minus 40.
You step outside, and the moisture inside your nose instantly freezes into sharp needles of ice. Your eyelashes literally freeze together if you blink at the wrong speed.
It's so true.
I distinctly remember having to plug my car's engine block heater into the wall, and the extension cord was so stiff from the cold it felt like unspooling steel rebar.
I remember weeping at a bus stop.
Oh my gosh.
Just standing there, swaddled in 4 distinct layers of fleece, wearing a down parka that made me look like a giant black marshmallow.
Yeah.
And just quietly weeping because the wind hit my exposed cheek and it felt exactly like being slapped with a frozen steak.
The absolute lack of daylight, too. Waking up, pitch black, leaving the office at 4:30. pitch black.
You live the existence of a subterranean mole person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we watch these pioneers in 1874 attempting to build a society out of dirt and pine trees, I just look at the screen and think, I see you. I validate your thermal trauma.
Spiritually connected. But thankfully, we don't have to manually plow a field for heating fuel. Let me just top up your wine here.
Oh, yes, please.
There we go. Because we need to dive directly into the absolute mess that is Hope Valley 1874. Season 1, Episode 4, Trading Places. Babes, we have so much to unpack.
Let's get into it, because before we even touch the plot, we need to acknowledge the massive elephant in the room regarding the pacing of this show.
The pacing.
We are at Episode 4. There are only 8 episodes in this entire first season. We are officially sitting at the exact halfway point of the narrative.
Please do not remind me. It is moving way too fast, and the network is playing deeply manipulative games with our emotions.
They really are.
There is still zero official word on a Season 2 pickup. Hello! We are investing our precious time, our emotional energy, and our literal tears into these character arcs, and they are keeping us suspended in anxiety.
It is a deeply frustrating television strategy.
Stop playing with the Snark Squad. We demand a formal renewal announcement.
You cannot just drop an audience into the complex dynamics of 1874, introduce all these flawed characters, give us this incredible origin story, and then leave us completely hanging.
Exactly.
But if we analytically look at the pacing of this episode, they are clearly laying the groundwork for long-term arcs. They aren't structuring this like a closed, limited series, so I am choosing to remain cautiously optimistic.
I am manifesting a renewal. Just like the dumb practice, Season 2 is happening.
Yes.
Okay, but let's talk about the actual episode. We need to start with the single most traumatic sequence.
Yes.
Nash's leg.
Oh, brutal.
Ash McCabe, our sweet, intensely hardworking farmhand, breaks his leg. And, babes, I was watching this scene through my fingers. I was emotionally spiraling on my couch.
It was viscerally hard to watch. And critically, it really grounds the show in the terrifying reality of the era. Because we get so caught up in the cozy boarding house aesthetics and the simmering romance, we completely forget that in 1874, a compound fracture could literally be a death sentence.
Literally.
Yeah.
There is no hospital. There is no doctor.
Run!
And the way he desperately tries to hide his agonizing screams. He is writhing in unimaginable pain on the frozen dirt. But he is forcibly swallowing his own cries, so his kids and his wife Peggy don't hear him.
It's so intense.
It absolutely broke my heart. I was weeping. It is just this massive, heartbreaking display of frontier machismo. He views it as his duty to protect them from how bad his injury is.
It's that classic 19th century provider instinct dialed up to a toxic extreme. He thinks expressing pain is a failure of masculinity.
Yes.
But let's break down the absolute terror of frontier medicine for a second, because understanding the historical context makes this scene so much more harrowing. Like you said, no doctor. But beyond that, no painkillers, no antibiotics. The concept of antiseptic surgery had absolutely not reached a dusty Western Canadian prospector's camp.
Terrifying.
If that bone breaks the skin, the risk of sepsis is astronomically high. It is just pure terror, improvised splints, and a whole lot of praying.
Which brings me to Rebecca, because I have to ask you, could you imagine resetting a grown man's bone with just stray pieces of wood, some rudimentary plaster, and torn fabric?
Absolutely not. I would pass out.
Because that is exactly what Rebecca did. She just confidently stepped into that void and took control.
Look, Rebecca stepping up in a crisis is a massive testament to her internal fortitude. We know she has some guarded medical knowledge from her mysterious background in Chicago.
The mysterious past.
But while I admire her courage, can we just pause and point out the sheer absurdity of her resume right now?
Oh my God, yes.
She arrived roughly 3 weeks ago. She is now operating as the primary physician, the sole school teacher, the boarding house cook, the chief economic negotiator, and the general contractor for her building repairs.
She's doing everything.
She is collecting municipal job titles like Infinity Stones.
She is a feminist icon. She is holding the entire socioeconomic fabric of this town together with her bare hands, sheer willpower, and a fantastic lip color.
A very strong lip color.
We love a highly competent queen who refuses to wait for a man to solve her problems.
Is she a feminist icon, though? Because while her ambition is admirable, she is also setting herself up for catastrophic burnout. She is masking her trauma with relentless productivity.
Okay, rude, but true.
Which brings us directly to the central narrative pillar of the episode, the deal. Trading places. Let's break down the mechanics here.
The deal.
Rebecca has a massive hole in her boarding house roof, desperately needs lumber before winter. Tom Moore, our brooding local rancher, has a totally different crisis. His cowboys all quit to pan for gold, and he desperately needs his fields plowed before the frost hardens the earth.
So they strike a high-stakes deal. She agrees to plow his field, and he provides the lumber. I completely lost my mind during this negotiation scene. I was openly yelling at my TV.
Oh, I was too.
Rebecca's sheer, unbridled audacity. She is a wealthy city girl from Chicago. She has never engaged in a single day of grueling farm labor. And she just confidently looks Tom dead in the eye and agrees to plow a massive frontier field.
With zero hesitation.
Babes, she didn't even ask for a tutorial. She didn't ask how to harness the horse. She just grabbed the reins and marched out into the dirt like she was hailing a cab on Michigan Avenue.
It is the absolute pinnacle of overconfidence, and it sets up this fascinating battle of the sexes, but really it's a battle of stubborn pride.
Totally.
Tom knows farming. He knows exactly how physically brutal that manual labor is. He knows she has absolutely no idea what she's doing, but Rebecca is so fiercely independent, she outright refuses to admit she's struggling.
But she didn't give up. That is the point. She was out there sweating, exhausted, hands blistering, and she kept going. She is demonstrating to Tom and every prospector in that town that she has the grit to survive.
Her mental endurance is staggering, yes.
That is exactly why I consider her a feminist icon. Her refusal to quit.
KT, I'm going to push back on this feminist icon narrative for this specific task. We need to look at the physical facts. She literally could not do it alone.
But she tried.
The physical reality of operating a 19th century moldboard plow is incredibly intense. You have to wrestle a heavy iron blade deep into compacted soil while controlling a draft animal. It requires immense core strength.
Which she probably didn't have.
She didn't. Tom still had to step in. He had to ride out, physically take the reins from her hands, and help her finish the job.
But she fought him on it. She explicitly told him she didn't want the help.
Which is exactly why Tom deserves significant credit here. Was his intervention paternalistic pity or genuine partnership? I argue it was partnership.
Okay, I'm listening.
He is a genuinely fair man. He didn't mock her failure. He respected her determination, and he chose to work with her. He guided her hands. He helped her finish the monumental job she started, rather than stripping her of the accomplishment.
That's true.
That is the definition of an actual, healthy, equitable partnership.
Okay, fine. I will concede that point and give Tom his flowers. He was a perfect gentleman about the entire situation.
He really was.
He provided the lumber. They finished the field together. It was a beautiful bonding moment. But you know who is absolutely not exhibiting healthy masculinity in this episode?
Oh boy. Lars Yost.
Lars Yost.
We absolutely need to unpack the psychology of Lars and Hattie because this subplot was spiking my blood pressure.
Toxic 1870s provider energy. That is exactly what Lars is radiating.
Completely.
Let's do a quick recap for everyone listening. Lars is the man who originally sold Rebecca the rotten wood. That's why there's a hole in her roof. Lars feels guilty, which, fair.
Right.
But now he and his wife Hattie are living in a freezing, mud-soaked prospector's camp inside a canvas tent with a brand new baby.
A newborn.
Rebecca, being an absolute angel, offers them a deeply discounted rate to move into the boarding house where it is safe and warm. And Lars completely refuses the offer.
Because his fragile pride will not allow him to accept what he incorrectly perceives as charity.
It's so frustrating.
To understand Lars, you have to understand Victorian-era masculinity. The entire concept of manhood was being the infallible breadwinner. If a man failed to provide shelter, he was socially emasculated.
But his baby is freezing.
Exactly. His internal narrative is shattered because of the rotten wood deal. So he is actively punishing himself and, horrifically, his wife and child by refusing a lifeline. Lars, look around you. Your wife is visibly crumbling. Swallow your pride.
I wanted to physically reach through the screen and shake him by the shoulders. Hattie is trying so incredibly hard to keep everything from falling apart.
She is the emotional mother hen of the town.
Yes, she is assisting Rebecca in the messy prospector's tent, managing the miner's emotions, tiptoeing around her husband's shattered ego, caring for an infant in freezing temperatures.
It's an unfathomable amount of weight.
And Lars is just standing there with his chest puffed out, refusing a solid roost because his feelings are hurt. Take the discount, Lars.
Analytically, it is psychologically brilliant writing. That immense societal pressure drove men to make irrational survival decisions. But it perfectly highlights the contrast between Lars and Tom.
Oh, totally.
Tom understands his limits. He brought Rebecca in for Nash's broken leg. Lars would probably attempt to set his own shattered femur with a rusty spoon, rather than publicly admit he needed help.
A rusty spoon. I am crying, but it is entirely accurate.
Okay, but while all this incredible high-stakes drama is happening, we have to address the Mountie side quests.
Ah, the Mountie side quests.
Alexander and his fellow Mountie, played by Tyler Roberge.
Listen, I appreciate Lachlan Quarmby's performance as Alexander. He brings great presence, but I have a major complaint about how this storyline was integrated.
It felt so random.
It felt aggressively disjointed. We have this cozy, intense drama with Rebecca, Tom, and Lars, and then suddenly, hard cut, we are thrust into a completely different television genre.
Two Mounties chasing a random outlaw through the woods. Exactly. It's not like an editor accidentally spliced a reel of an action-heavy Western into our quiet frontier drama.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But babes, I gasped. I literally gasped while I was watching that sequence because a sudden thought struck me.
Okay.
A massive conspiracy theory, if you will allow me to indulge.
I am always ready for a conspiracy theory. Lay it on me.
Listen closely. What if the seemingly random side quest isn't just narrative filler? What if Alexander is actually actively gathering intelligence on Rebecca?
Great.
Think about the logistics. Why is he so singularly interested in staying at her boarding house? He's a Mountie. He could camp out with his detachment. But he specifically ensures he is in close proximity to her.
That's true.
Is it just a romantic crush? Or is he a frontier spy? What if Rebecca's secretive past in Chicago involved a massive financial crime and he is secretly conducting a covert investigation?
Okay. I really hate that. I do not hate that theory. Analytically, it would explain a tremendous amount. Historically, the Northwest Mounted Police, which were newly formed in 1873, didn't just chase horse thieves. They operated covertly to monitor threats.
See?
So an undercover Mountie is historically plausible, and it would explain why the writers are keeping his storyline slightly segregated to subtly indicate he has an ulterior motive.
If this cozy drama pivots into a covert police thriller, I will lose my mind in the best way possible.
It would inject so much suspense.
We need to keep a close eye on Alexander. He is way too perfectly handsome in that tailored uniform to just be a background character.
He's hiding something.
Definitely. But you know who is absolutely not hiding anything? Clayton and Olivia.
Oh, yes. We absolutely can pivot from the threat of gangrene to the luxury of art and romance.
Can we just pause the survival stress and swoon for a second? I stand a soft romance.
It's so sweet.
Olivia's getting this amazing opportunity to promote her artistic talents, and Clayton is brought in to physically construct the bespoke furniture she is designing.
Sitting in a sunlit room.
Sketching blueprints. Flirting. It is highlighting this stark contrast, the luxury of art set against the backdrop of brutal frontier survival.
It's essentially Maslow's hierarchy of needs playing out in real time. Rebecca and Tom are at the bottom, securing shelter, which creates the stable environment that allows Olivia and Clayton to exist at the top, engaging in self-actualization.
That is such a smart way to look at it.
And we have to circle back to Tom more here, because this subplot is where Tom demonstrates what self-aware, healthy masculinity looks like in direct contrast to Lars.
Yes, let's talk about Tom's humility.
Tom promised Rebecca he'd help construct the furniture. But when it came down to it, Tom openly admitted, "Look, I can swing an axe, but I do not possess the refined skill to craft delicate furniture."
He knew his limits.
He willingly passed the lucrative job to Clayton. He recognized his limitations and stepped aside for the actual expert.
We love an emotionally intelligent king. Tom Moore, quietly dismantling toxic masculinity one handcrafted chair at a time.
It was perfect.
And it set up Olivia and Clayton perfectly. But if we want to smoothly transition from the sweet romance to the absolute unfiltered mess,
Yeah.
we need to discuss the Reddit tea.
Oh boy. The fandom is spiraling.
Yes. Bring on the historical delusion. Babes, the online drama from viewers this week is completely unhinged. First topic. The makeup.
The great frontier cosmetics debate of 2026.
I completely lost my composure reading these threads. Fans are writing massive essays complaining about Rebecca and the women wearing heavy, shimmery red lipstick, lip gloss, and perfectly sculpted eyebrows on the rugged frontier.
They are furious about the lip gloss.
So angry.
Look, from a purely historical standpoint, yes, the fans are correct. A glossy red lip in 1874 while shoveling horse manure is highly anachronistic. True Victorian cosmetics involve dangerous substances like lead paint, and a painted face was stigmatized. But we need to look at the psychology of modern television production.
What's Hallmark Plus?
Exactly. It's the hallmark silhouette. They want to evoke the feeling of the past, but they know modern audiences demand modern aesthetic beauty standards. If they actually showed these women with dirt-caked, unwashed faces and cracked lips, the fans would immediately complain they look terrible.
Exactly. If I'm surviving a brutal Canadian winter with no central heating, my lip is going to be vibrantly popped. I deserve that manufactured joy. Let the women live.
It's just TV magic.
We are tuning in for the vibes and romance, not a documentary on 19th century cosmetic chemistry. But the drama gets deeper. A fan on Reddit got their post completely removed by a moderator just for pointing out the lipstick.
A moderator going on an absolute power trip over frontier lip gloss.
Yeah.
But you truly cannot script this internet absurdity.
I love the mess of it all. I declare it a valid complaint. But the fact that a Reddit mod went rogue and silenced them, it is giving digital frontier justice.
The fandom takes the aesthetic integrity very seriously. And it wasn't just the cosmetics. We also have to address the bustles.
The bustles. I was cackling. Fans noticed the costuming department strapped these women into massive bustles under their skirts. And they're posting screenshots like, did anyone else notice her butt looks huge while serving soup?
Again, historically, the silhouette of the 1870s did feature the bustle. It replaced the crinolines, so it is accurate to the decade.
Okay, Mr. Historian.
However, it is extremely impractical for the manual labor they are performing. A bustle is a cage of wire or horsehair. You cannot physically squeeze a steel cage behind a narrow mess tent counter.
You literally can't.
But the costumers are clearly having a visual field day, so we support the artistic choice.
We will always support a dramatic skirt. But the biggest source of drama, the peak of fan confusion, revolves around the town name.
The municipal geography crisis. Let me break this down because the confusion is massive.
Please do.
Fans are losing their minds trying to figure out where this show takes place. Is the boarding house in Buxton? Is it in Coal Valley? Fans of the original apparent? When Calls the Heart series are pointing out that in the early seasons, the town is explicitly named Coal Valley.
Right.
But this prequel is definitively titled Hope Valley 1874. So people feel lied to. They're furious.
It is the most chaotic urban planning in television history. How many times can one settlement change its legal name?
It is a fascinating piece of prequel lore. Boomtowns frequently rebranded. The timeline goes exactly like this. Originally, in 1874, they name it Hope Valley. Then they discover massive coal veins, the economy shifts to mining, and corporate interests rename it Coal Valley.
Capitalism strikes.
Exactly. Then, after a horrific mining accident in the original show, they collectively decide to rename it back to Hope Valley to represent healing.
Hope Valley to Coal Valley and back to Hope Valley. It's like the municipal government couldn't make a permanent decision. Capitalism is amazing. Call it coal. Oh no, a tragedy. Scrub the branding. Back to Hope.
It is essentially a municipal PR rebrand designed to hide a corporate disaster.
But you can understand why a casual viewer is completely lost. They're eagerly waiting for someone to say, welcome to Hope Valley, and instead, everyone's talking about Buxton. The writers need to drop a map graphic on the screen.
Just erect a wooden town sign. Give us a sign.
Yes. But observing these fans struggle brings us perfectly to our first analytical question of the evening. Because the fans aren't the only ones disconnected from reality.
Oh, let's dive into it. Segment 1.
Segment 1, most delusional townsperson.
Yeah.
We are putting these characters on trial, who is absolutely not living in reality this week. I'm going first, and I'm coming out swinging. My pick is Rebecca.
Wow. Coming straight for the beloved main character right out of the gate.
I love her, but babes. She thought she could casually approach a massive draft horse and successfully operate a moldboard plow without ever doing a single day of strenuous farm labor.
She did think that.
She is radiating pure, unfiltered, delusional DIY TikToker energy. You know the videos.
Huh?
I bought a 100-year-old Victorian house and I'm rewiring the electrical panel myself from a YouTube tutorial.
And then the house catches fire.
Exactly.
Oh.
That is Rebecca in that field. She is operating entirely on sheer delusion and stubbornness.
Yeah, that is a phenomenally accurate comparison. However, I am going to challenge your pick. My nomination for most delusional townsperson is Lars Yost.
Okay, defend your thesis.
Lars has zero financial capital. He sold rotten wood to a vulnerable woman, and yet, despite being entirely at fault, he acts like he has the leverage to turn down a safe roof for his family because of his pride.
It's so true.
Wake up, Lars. You are in a canvas tent in the Canadian wilderness. You do not possess leverage. Your masculine pride is not a combustible fuel source. It won't keep your infant warm. He is dangerously disconnected from reality.
Okay, that is an incredibly valid argument.
Yeah,
It is essentially a battle of competing delusions. Toxic male pride versus city girl overconfidence.
exactly. But look at the outcomes. Rebecca's delusion eventually got the field plowed, even with help. Lars's delusion just results in him sitting in a drafty tent while his wife suffers. Lars unequivocally wins the award,
I concede. Lars takes the crown. Wake up, Lars.
which flows seamlessly into our next category.
Segment 2. Soft girl versus survival mode. We are dividing the town's population, who is thriving in luxury and who is barely clinging to life. I am taking the soft girl category, and I nominate Olivia.
A strong choice.
While everyone else is breaking long bones, wrestling plows, and shivering in tents, Olivia is receiving career-making opportunities. She is sitting indoors, sketching elegant designs.
Flirting with Clayton.
Exactly. She is living her best unbothered soft girl life in 1874. I don't think her boots have touched mud once in this entire episode.
She is floating serenely above the grit on a cloud of artistic privilege. But on the exact opposite end, for the survival mode category, I have a dead tie. Nash McCabe and Hattie.
Oh, they're in the trenches.
Nash is attempting manual labor while dragging around a heavy cast of twigs and torn fabric. He is actively fighting for his life, desperately trying to maintain employment so his family doesn't starve. Every step is agonizing.
Or Nash.
And Hattie is managing a chaotic mess tent for demanding prospectors, wrangling her husband's fragile ego, ain't he caring for a fragile infant. She is operating on zero sleep and sheer terror.
I agree they are suffering, but I am going to push back. I argue Rebecca is in the ultimate survival mode. Look at the weight she is carrying. She is the teacher, the cook, the makeshift doctor, the amateur farmer. She is holding the town on her shoulders.
Is she, though? I countered that Rebecca put herself into survival mode.
Wait, what?
She didn't have to impulsively agree to plow that massive field. She actively makes high-stakes bets with ranchers. She aggressively volunteers for every vacant leadership role.
That's just who she is.
Nash got crushed by a horse, unavoidable accident. Hattie is trapped by circumstance. Rebecca's survival mode is entirely self-inflicted because she refuses to delegate.
Okay, wow. Blaming the overworked woman for her boundless ambition. But analytically, you're not entirely wrong. Which leads us to our next major debate.
Segment 3, main character energy. Who is putting Hope Valley on their back?
I emphatically state that Rebecca is the undeniable main character. She is the singular engine driving this show forward. If you remove Rebecca, the boarding house collapses, Nash loses his leg, and the town starves. She is the moment.
She commands the most screen time, yes. But I nominate Tom Moore for the true main character energy.
Tom, the grumpy rancher.
Hear me out. Tom is the classic grumpy but fair leading man. Rebecca makes the loud noise, but who actually gets things done? Tom. He possesses the resources. He supplies the lumber. He finishes the plowing.
True.
Plus, he possesses this intriguing secret backstory involving a former city girl that makes him emotionally unavailable. He is the quiet, brooding backbone of this town. Without Tom's resources, Rebecca's idealism crashes into the mud.
Mr. Darcy in the dirt.
Oh,
I see the logic. But Rebecca has the immaculate lip gloss and the vision, so I still firmly believe she holds the title.
we will agree to disagree.
Ugh.
Which brings us to my absolute favorite analytical exercise.
Right.
I am pouring the last drops of wine for this segment.
Yes, pour it up. Segment 4. If they lived here, 2026, imagine violently ripping these characters out of the 1870s and dropping them into a modern glass-walled apartment. What are they doing?
Let's start with Rebecca.
Oh, I've got this. Rebecca, in 2026, is an overworked millennial mother who runs a massively successful DIY home renovation Instagram account. But the account is secretly a cry for help.
Oh my gosh.
She refuses to hire a licensed contractor. She posts frantic stories at 2 a.m. covered in white drywall dust trying to install a subway tile, but her signature red lipstick remains absolutely immaculate. She is always on the verge of a breakdown in Home Depot.
That is surgically, terrifyingly accurate.
No.
Okay, Tom in 2026. I imagine Tom as an independent hipster lumberjack living in the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
He owns a hyperlocal rustic craft brewery that strictly serves heavily hopped IPAs that taste like pine needles, and he fundamentally refuses to use a digital point-of-sale system. He makes everyone pay in cash and grumbles about city folk while charging $18 a pint.
He exclusively wears broken-in vintage flannels, and he has a massive beard he pretends he doesn't meticulously oil every morning. I'm screaming, okay, Lars, in 2026, Lars is 100% a delusional crypto bro. He lost his life savings in a meme coin crash, but refuses to get a stable 9-to-5 job because it hurts his pride.
Just staring at dual monitors.
Exactly. Telling his stressed-out wife Hattie he's just waiting to buy the dip. Meanwhile, Hattie is driving an Uber 12 hours a day to pay the rent.
Even in 2026, Lars remains insufferable. Okay, last profile. Alexander, the mysterious Mountie.
What is he doing?
Alexander in 2026 is a full-blown, highly monetized influencer posting absolutely shameless law enforcement uniform thirst traps on TikTok.
Oh my God, the thirst traps.
Intense lip-syncing to slow reverb pop songs while strapping on a tactical Kevlar vest. Millions of views. Zero actual police work ever conducted.
He would absolutely do those slick video transitions where he drops the wide-brimmed hat over the camera lens.
Yep.
I am crying. That is entirely too perfect.
It perfectly aligns with his vibe.
It really, truly does. Wow, what an incredibly dense episode. What a massive spiral we just went on.
It really was an intense analysis. Cold studio, wine flowing, historical chaos. It's exactly what this Thursday evening needed.
It really is. But before we officially sign off, we have to turn this conversation over to you. Yes, you, listening right now.
We want to know your thoughts. Would you actually survive the brutal reality of Hope Valley? Could you physically handle the twigs and plaster medical trauma?
Could you?
And more importantly, who is your favorite character? Are you Team Rebecca, Team Tom, or just enjoying Olivia's soft girl era?
Let us know. And remember, Snark Squad, rate, review, and subscribe. Send us your messy, chaotic stories. Share this with your cozy bestie who desperately needs to understand the frontier lipstick drama.
Truly a warm, slightly tipsy thank you to you for sticking with us through the chaos, the apartment rants, and the delayed schedule. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you so much. Stay chilled.
Stay chaotic.
And we'll see you on the Snark side.